This Steve Jones Show podcast is now loading. The Steve Jones Show podcast is presented by Sunbury Motor Company, Purdy Insurance, and Brewers Outlet. Bringing you an in-depth look at Penn State sports and more. This is the Steve Jones Show on News Radio 1070 WKOK. The Steve Jones Show is presented by Sunbury Motor Company, Purdy Insurance, and Brewers Outlet. Now from the Sunbury Motor Studio, here's Steve Jones.
Great to be with you today. We'll have Greg Pickle on the show later, talk about the Big Ten Wrestling Championships. He's at the PIAAs right now. And because he had something to do tomorrow, so the seeds are coming out tomorrow, but we couldn't get them booked for tomorrow.
He said the seeds might come out at some point today. He just didn't know if they would be out by 3 o'clock.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Fine by me. We're just grateful to have him on the show. And looking forward to talking with him today about everything that's going on with the NCAA Wrestling Championship. Well, actually, the Big Ten Wrestling Championship taking place at Northwestern. But for anybody going to it, I will tell you right now, the arena at Northwestern is tremendous. They literally took apart the old arena, gutted it, and while keeping the bones. And they redid the inside. It's 2 decks, and everything's right on top of the floor. It's really, you're going to be, in my opinion, anybody that goes, you'll be very impressed with it. Very impressed.
Sounds like it's perfect for wrestling.
Well, I don't know if you can, how many mats you can put out there. That's the part I'm not sure about. But in terms of like a championship and the mats in the center, it's a great location. I mean, it's fabulous. But in terms of the ability to put extra mats out there, I mean, because the stands in the end zones only go so far back. I think they go so far back on the sides too. So you could probably get a decent number of mats out there. But for the championship, oh man, it's going to be really good, really good. You'll like it a lot. All right, so we got that going on. Couple of notes for you. So we talked about the NCAAs. And I saw Sam Hubbard retired today from the Bengals, 29 years old. And they're going to take a cap hit on him. He tore his PCL, I think. He caught a touchdown pass. Like the last play he played, he caught a touchdown pass. And he got hurt on that play. So at the age of 29, he's going to retire. He's a good player, too. Remember when Jalen Hurts got hurt a couple of years ago and every Eagles fan was telling us how great Gardner Minshew was? There he got released again. All right. I'm telling you, we're okay. I'm like, oh, no, there's a reason he's a backup. No. Travis Kelce says, the biggest thing is I love playing the game of football. He intends to play at least one more season for the Chiefs. He's going to, quote, give it everything he has. What was he giving before? I'm just kidding. And then there's the Alex Ovechkin story. He's 11 goals away from making NHL history and breaking Wayne Gretzky's career goal-scoring record. Starting today, every goal he scores, and for the rest of his career, will raise funds toward pediatric cancer research. He is partnered with Hockey Fights Cancer and the V Foundation. And he is in pursuit of Gretzky's NHL record of 894 goals. So beginning with their game tonight with the Rangers at Madison Square Garden, Ovechkin's going to donate a dollar amount equal to his career goal total for every goal he scores for the remainder of his NHL career. His donation will also be matched by Monumental Sports and Entertainment, which owns the Capitals. How about that? That's great. They've actually been working on this for a while. Hey, good for him. And that's great. Yeah.
That was supposed to be one of those unbreakable sports records, too.
But there's certain records that are, to me, are unbreakable. That in my mind was not one of them. To me, DiMaggio's 56-game hitting streak feels unbreakable. Right, that's one that I think of. To be honest with you, LeBron James scoring 50,000 NBA points kind of feels unbreakable. Because remember, he started his career at 18 years old. So he had the additional time to go out and play. So we'll see. I think that's one that could be.
Baseball in this day and age, nobody's getting Cy Young's win record either.
No. The 511 wins he has, that'll never be broken. Not the way the game's played today. Getting somebody to 200 career wins is going to be difficult. Can somebody get to 763 home runs and pass Barry Bonds? Yes. Let's see, 56 games. I think Cal Ripken's consecutive game streak will never be broken. I just don't think today, the way they rest players, it can be done. You really don't have guys playing 162 games. So I think that's. I think consecutive games played records in every sport, football, basketball, baseball. Believe it or not, hockey could, because to their credit, okay, those guys can play. Those guys play. It's a difficult sport, but those guys play. Let's see. What other records might not be broken? I kind of wonder if Jerry Rice's touchdown record can be broken. Let's see. Oh, Paul Krause's career interception record. I don't think that's going to be broken. What, he has 82? I mean, they're doing cartwheels telling everybody that Jalen Ramsey's a Hall of Famer with 15. Jack Ham had 32 as a linebacker in an era where they didn't throw the ball as much. So that's a record that may not be broken. What else? Career saves, that's fine. We talked about home runs. Any ones you can think of? See, Gretzky, I thought it could only because those guys play a lot.
Doesn't he also have a ridiculous assist number, too?
Now, his assist number may not be broken. That's a hard one because Gretzky had 1 billion assists, which means his total points thing probably can't be broken. Goals, a guy like Ovechkin has the ability to do it, just like Connor McDavid does. Austin Matthews had over 60 goals last year, but you have to do it over a long period of time. So those are a few of the ones I'm thinking off the top of my head. But like consecutive games played in baseball, no, Ripken will have that forever.
I was going to say, I looked it up while you were talking. Only 4 guys played 162 games last year.
4 guys?
Yeah. The 2 that stick out in my head, because I just closed it, was Nick Castellanos and Marcelo Osuna, Pete Alonso, and there was one other.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Which is wild that it was only 4. But then again, like you said, rest is more important now than ever.
Well, you know, but I will say this about baseball rest. Baseball rest is you're playing 162 games. And, you know, and how often do you see once in a while you've got a night game on Friday but an afternoon game on Saturday? Like, okay. Or you get into a situation where you've got those day-night doubleheaders. There is, to me, you know, something about it. And I completely understand rest coming into play. I've talked about, let's see. Okay. No. Joe Giuliano. Did you know Joe Giuliano?
I know who you are. I know who he is.
Yeah, Dick and I are having dinner with him Friday night in Madison. That's where he lives now. I think that I can understand rest, especially when you've got, you know, you have a 162 game season. You're playing in the heat. I think Aaron Judge is a great example that in 2 of the last 3 years, he's been able to put up great home run totals, right? And in each of those years, in pursuit of trying to set records, not necessarily trying to win games, but to set records. Because the Yankees were 3 years ago, the Yankees were safely in the playoffs. He only played to set the record, to go past Roger Maris. And in the process, what did he do? I think he exhausted himself.
Yeah.
And when it got to the playoffs, that was a tired baseball player that once again could not get it done in the playoffs. Well, he did the same thing this year. Played. Not only he played center field. You know, he could have used a couple of days off along the way. I mean, that's. So I don't mind guys getting a day off here and there. I don't mind in an 82-game NBA season, you end up playing 75, 76 games, and you get 5 to 6 games off during the course of the year. That doesn't bother me. Not in the least. It's when they're sitting there like, well, I can't play more than 65 games. Hey, yo, dude, that's 25% of the season. What do you mean? I can play 60 games. You can play 60 games? Come on. They want 58. They want a quarter of the season off. I've got an issue with that. You don't see hockey players doing load management. Injuries. You're injured, you shouldn't be playing. You're hurt, maybe you need a day. Or maybe a couple, depending on how hurt you are. But I don't know. Oh, you know what? Here's a record that will never be broken. Never be broken. On Division I football, there is nobody that's going to stay at their job long enough to win 409 games.
Not with this college football schedule.
No. There's nobody that's going to stay at their job long enough to win 409 games. And what really will bring it into focus will be this September. Why is that? James Franklin is on the verge of surpassing Rip Engel to be the second winningest coach in the history of Penn State football. Rip had 104 wins. James will pass that in all likelihood if things go well in September. He'll still be, when he wins number 105, 304 behind. And look, and James has had great years over and over and over again. He's had great years. But he's going into his 12th season. Okay? He's averaging up better than 9 wins a year. And he's on the verge of averaging nearly 10 wins a year. Man, you got to coach 30 more years to get there. Well, at that point, James is what, 52 now? 51, 52? Something like that. I mean, nobody's going to pass that record. Nick Saban had a great run, right? He's not even close to Joe. And Nick Saban had a phenomenal run. And he's not close. In fact, he's as great a career as he had, and all those games that he won in the college football playoff, every one of them counts as a bowl win. He still hasn't passed Joe's bowl win record with 24. Now, that is a record that might be broken. The bowl record one. Like, for example, Ryan Day picked up, 4 wins in the college football playoff? Those count as 4 bowl wins. Okay? So you will have the ability, somebody along the line, to go, somebody, if they stay long enough, will have the ability to go past the bowl record, I think, but not the overall record of 409. There's nobody's going to make it.
That bowl record's going to look like MLB postseason stats in like 20 years, where it's all modern because you're like you said, you're getting 4 bowl wins a year. Right.
Now it'll take a while to do it, and you can get knocked out in the first round all the time. Preseeds are out for the Big Ten wrestling tournament. Luke Lillidahl is number 4 at 125. Braden Davis 4 at 133. Bo Bartlett, number 1 at 141. Shane Van Ness, number 1 at 149. Tyler Kasich, number 2 at 157. Mitchell Messenbrink, number 1 at 165. Levi Haynes, number 1 at 174. Carter Starachi, number 1 at 184. Josh Barr, number 2 at 197. And Greg Kirkfleet, number 2 at 285 pounds. Okay? So those are the pre-seeds. Okay? You said they might come out this afternoon? We've got them.
From my mouth to the Big Ten's ears.
They said, you know what? If Todd Hummel says we should put them out now for the sake of the show, let's put them out now.
Hey, if that were true, I'd have gotten you the basketball schedule a little earlier in the fall.
Oh, the basketball schedule? No, that's a different story. That is a different story, my man. That's I remember the days when on the basketball schedule we'd get it sometime in August, and you're like, okay, good, that's great. August, that's good. We can do that. And then all of a sudden, August started becoming September. Like, really? Because I think it came out with September 19th this year. It came out September 18th the year before. It's because they have so much inventory to sort out and so many TV deals to satisfy. The Penn State-Wisconsin game, for example, on Saturdays on Peacock. I'm going to throw this out there just as an informational part of it, just for information. I know, and just for information, would Penn State be eligible for some, obviously not for the NCAAs, which is the only tournament you really want to be in. Okay? So I completely understand that. But it is not, believe it or not, out of the realm of possibility of some postseason tournament. And I'll give you the graphic evidence why. Do you know where Penn State's currently ranked on the NIT bracket? 25th. Well, there are 32 teams in it. Right now, they're the number 25 team in the bracket. Just thought I'd mention it. It's not me that makes the determination on that. I'm just letting you know what they think, okay? I'm just telling you. Because Penn State's strength of schedule is good. Their net is really their net is good, not great, but it's good. Their net's like 67. Their Ken Pom number is 64. I mean, you need 116 schools to fill out these tournaments. Well, 68 are going to the NCAAs. But, geez.
Doesn't some spots open up with that new Fox thing, too?
That's 16 of them. You did 116 schools.
Well, that's what I was going to say, so yeah.
I mean, that's just the way it is. I'm just all I'm doing is explaining. All right? There's a big difference between commenting and explaining. I'm trying to give you an explanation. Now, that doesn't mean you go. Last year, Indiana turned down the NIT. Maryland turned down the NIT. St. John's turned down the NIT. It's going to depend how, to be honest with you, it's going to depend how the players feel. Okay? That's fine. I'm just saying, and of course, say they go, there'll be critics. Oh, what are they going to that for? Oh, blah blah. Okay, I got it.
Party time, game time, or just fun time. Doesn't matter what time it is because it's Brewers Outlet time. The beverage supermarket has the area's largest beer selection. Imports, microbrews, ciders, and domestics. Pick from over 100 ice-cold 12-packs and dozens of 24-ounce singles. Soda, snacks, hot sauces, fresh roasted peanuts. Make it one-stop party shopping, and don't forget the pickle bar. So whatever you're celebrating or just doing it up, Brewers Outlet, Reagan Street, Sunbury wants to see you. And thank you for your years of patronage.
Bringing you an in-depth look at Penn State sports and more. This is the Steve Jones Show on News Radio 1070 WKOK. The Steve Jones Show is presented by Brewers Outlet, Sunbury Motor Company, and Purdy Insurance. Now from the Sunbury Motor Studio, here's Steve Jones.
Great to have you with us. Brought to you by our good friends at Sunbury Motors, 4th Street in Sunbury. Sunbury Motors Kia, routes 11 and 15, Hummels Wharf. Online, sunburymotors.com. Ford, Kia, Hyundai, best in new inventory. Great pre-owned inventory with the Sunbury Motors guarantee. Terrific service department. Routine, difficult, quick lane inspections. They handle it all at Sunbury Motors, 4th Street in Sunbury. Sunbury Motors Kia, routes 11 and 15 in Hummels Wharf, and online at sunburymotors.com. All right. What is Greg Pickle, 205? Does that sound right?
Yes, 205.
The preseeds are out. And again, the preseeds, just to give everybody an update about where they are. So where are they in all this? Well, here's your list. Luke Lillendahl, number 4 at 125. Braden Davis, number 4 at 133. Bo Bartlett, number 1 at 141. Shocking. Shane Van Ness, stunned, number 1 at 149. Tyler Kasich, number 2 at 157. Mitchell Messenbrink, number 1 at 165. Levi Haynes, number 1 at 174. Carter Sirachi, number 1 at 184. So that goes Penn State 5 number 1 seeds. Josh Barr, number 2 at 197. Greg Kirkfleet, number 2 at 285 pounds. And that gives Penn State 3 number 2 seeds. So they have 5 number 1s, 3 2s, and 2 4s in the Big Ten pre-seed. There you are. Okay.
We're going to go out on the limb and say they're the favorite.
You know, when you do stuff like that, I get really concerned. Now, I mean, I'm concerned right now that you're limping because you probably sprained an ankle jumping on the bandwagon.
Yeah, just dragging my broken leg behind me.
I jumped on the bandwagon. I'm for Penn State wrestling. There are certain things that we do in today's media where I sit back and go, you got to be kidding. We too often use the word historic. When you got to drag out a stat line like 4, 5, 6 things that tell everybody it hasn't been done before, you're like, going, okay, I got it. All right. By the way, Will Chamberlain's 100 points won't be broken either. We use historic too often. We use the word dynasty too often. Team wins 2 in a row. They're a dynasty. Well, they won 2 in a row. Penn State, now that is a dynasty. Okay? And what they've done, that is the definition of what a dynasty is. That, okay? It's overused a lot. It's overused a lot. Because today's, for whatever reason, there seems to be this like almost need for people to feel like they're living in some sort of historic era. Okay, well, sometimes we see history and sometimes it's just a great year. What Penn State's doing in wrestling, it is a dynasty and it is historic. Too often we hear those words used, and it's like I sit and I'll see it in headlines. And I'll go, what the? Breaking news. Never forget one time the breaking news was the Orlando Magic fired their coach. And I was like, breaking news? I mean, I follow sports a lot. I didn't know the dude was the head coach. It's like, so not breaking news to me.
I'm not even sure I could tell you who their coach is now.
I think if you asked the players, not even they could tell you. Paulo Banchero, I don't know, some guy in the huddle. I have no idea who it is. Some dude. It's, I mean, it just we just use words too easily, right? And that's the part that, like, for example, what Carter Starachi can make it 5 NCAA wrestling championships, right? Now that's historic. It's never been done before, right?
That's probably another one that won't be broken unless they decide to do the 5 years of eligibility.
Well, the 5 years of eligibility is a possibility. And I'll be honest with you, I think the players would be, for the most part, I think the players might be for it because I think people are starting to get they're starting to understand because of the money in college sports right now that the players between NIL and now what will be the internal numbers, what they can get, there is a level of security of being able to participate and get heavy playing time here while still being able to get money. And I think there's more of a realization that 97% don't make the NFL. There's a realization that 98% don't make the NBA. So when you see, for example, like I remember a couple of years ago, Hunter Dickinson transferred from Michigan to Kansas. And then he announced, I'm coming back. And somebody said, are you surprised by that? I said, I'm not surprised by that. Where's he going to go? G League? He probably can get more money in NIL playing at Kansas than he can on a G League contract. I don't blame him. And I think you're going to see, when it comes to 5 years, I think, for example, I think the players will be in favor of it for the simple reason that there's now money involved in it, and there's a sense of security.
And let's be honest, you have a better feel of where you're going to play when you're in college than you do in the NBA. You get to at least pick in college.
Well, yeah, you do that, but you're noticing, for example, what was the key to Ohio State last year in roster construction? We can talk about the great move of getting a guy like Caleb Downs to come in from Alabama, or a Will Howard to be the quarterback from Kansas State. But for Ohio State last year, it was critical to have roster retention. And I know with Notre Dame, I talked about that as well. With Notre Dame, I said, there you are with Riley Leonard at quarterback. But a lot of what they did was they had a lot of older players on the team, roster retention. So what's been one of the keys for Penn State in this particular year? I mean, I'm out at yesterday morning's workout. It's like old home week. There's Denai Dennis Sutton. There's Drew Aller. There's Katron Allen. There's Nicholas Singleton. You know, you're going through, there's Nick Dawkins. There's Drew Shelton. Right? Yeah. There's Zakee Wheatley. Well, how do you think you're able to keep all these? Penn State has understood now, it completely understands roster retention. And that's, where the money part comes in all this. And these guys are staying because they want to stay. They want to be a part of it. And they also know that they are going to get some money out of it. Right? And instead of having that be the issue as to why you make a decision, right? There'll be some people that in the past I would make a decision saying, well, I had to go pro. I had to start earning the money now. Okay. Well, now that desire is not as great because that element in some form is taken care of. So instead of going out and saying, well, I'll be a second-round pick, I'll go out, I'll be a third-round pick, how about if I stay here? And I think you're going to see more players staying in college, maybe not necessarily at the same school, but because there is money involved. And there is a sense of security of playing here as opposed to like, okay, let's roll the dice, let's see what round I get drafted in. There's still going to be guys that want to go to the NFL, for goodness sakes. Abdul Carter, right? Like, stay? Are you kidding me? I'd drive him to the airport myself because he should be in the NFL. Okay?
I was like, the guys at the upper level draft are going to get their money. I think this is perfect for guys like Katron and Nick Singleton, who are, who running backs who obviously the NFL is learning the value of them a little more in the last few months. But I think Nick and Katron were projected in like the 4th or 5th round. They'll probably make just as much money and play a lot more, and probably have a lot more fun in college than you do when it becomes a job. Even though you're still getting paid in college, it's still.
Well, you're still getting hit in college.
Yeah.
So.
It's still the college life around it, not the
right. Sure.
Not the weight of being an adult. How's that?
Oh, you've been talking to the suit again.
That, and I've lived my January 2025.
Okay. Yes, you did. As a matter of fact, we'll leave it at that. How about we leave it at that?
All right.
Right? Yeah. The suit feels the weight of everything. And to his credit, is very open and complaining to you about it. Oh, good. I can't wait for this conversation. This should be fun. Oh, goodness gracious. Last night, tomorrow night on the Coaches Show, Mike Rhodes will be on, and the first guest will be Mike Gambino, the baseball coach. So they had their home opener last night at Medlar Field, Lebrano Park. It was dollar dog night. Last night, they sold 5,960 hot dogs. How about that? 5,960 hot dogs sold last night at Dollar Dog Night. Yikes.
I don't mind a hot dog, but that's a lot of hot dogs.
It is a lot of hot dogs. And the difference between Penn State and, say, I don't know, a Phillies game is like people didn't throw them. So it's, my goodness. But yeah, because Mike Gambino got up in front of his team last year, and he was talking about, because they would do these dollar dog promotions, and people are coming out left and right for the dollar dog promotion. They love it. Okay, what the heck? You could take a, 4 guys go to the game. How much money are they spending? Get a couple of hot dogs, a couple of beers, whatever. You know what I mean? Okay, you can do whatever. And he got up in front of his team and he said, "Look, I want to get this program to the point where they're not coming out to get dollar hot dogs. They're coming out to watch you play because you're that good." Mike's pretty blunt about that stuff. And he has a team that's really, his center fielder is terrific. And it's going to be one of the first guys I talk about with him tomorrow night.
Is that where Kling's at?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, Kling is one terrific player. Off to a great start, but he's just really good. At the plate, in the field.
I mean, it's wild from where he's from that, a baseball school like LSU, where he went to first, really wanted him. It tells you how, what kind of baseball player he is. I got to see him a little. I think they played Danville. They played somebody when he was like a freshman or a sophomore, and you could tell then, my Lord.
I mean, he's right there at the top of the order. And it's like, geez, he is really good. And now, you also have to have more than just one guy. And we're going to get into all that because they've won 8 in a row. I want to say they're 9-1 right now. But it's a great start, and they won last night over Fairleigh Dickinson. But we'll have Mike on tomorrow night. But 5,960 hot dogs sold last night.
What was the attendance? Do you have that? I want to know how many people ate multiple hot dogs.
Yeah, that's a good question. What was the attendance last night? That part I didn't see, although I got the email last night. Teams. Boom. Schedule. Boom. Baseball. There we go. Fairleigh Dickinson, 176. Box score. Bang. Box score says 4,049.
Oh.
That's really a good crowd.
That is a good crowd. Especially because it wasn't particularly...
It was 55 last night. It was good. It was
I was going to say, I guess that's pretty warm for March in Pennsylvania.
No, I was by the ballpark last night. Right? It was warm last night. Right? I mean, they played great again. And Paxton Kling is, like, we're talking about him, what a great, terrific player. So that last night was one of those 0 for 5 nights. But he's still hitting .310. But, Bryce Molinaro is playing well. He knocked in a run last night. Joe Jakonski, the second baseman, knocked in a couple last night. Jack Porter last night, the DH, had 3 hits. Pretty good. Okay, they're up to a good start.
It's Penn State not known for their bat and ball sports. Both baseball and softball are pretty good.
Clarissa's team, Crowell, made the NCAAs last year. They lost in 3 games to Texas State, but they let's start with this. They've got a pitcher.
Yeah.
Nemeth is really good. They've got a pitcher. Like big-time fastball pitch. Yeah, sneaky fastball, but great drop pitch. And this is it's fun because, I mean, you know how much I love baseball. So, yeah. And by the way, you're not going to get home runs to fly out of that place at this time of the year, just so you know.
They don't fly out a whole lot when it's warm either.
When it's a warm, humid night, yeah, they can get out of there.
Is it a little bit? Is it better than Bowman? Wait, whatever they call it, the Williamsport Field.
Yeah, whatever they call it this hour. It's I refer to it now as the Bank of the Month Field. But they've got Friday. They actually will have their Big Ten opener with Indiana. It's a 3-game weekend set starting Friday at 5:30, and then 1 o'clock on Saturday and 1 o'clock on Sunday. Then next week they have Georgetown in. No, they go to Georgetown. They're going to go down to Capital One Park down in Tysons to play there. Then they're at Northwestern. Then they come home for St. Bonaventure on the 18th. Then Lafayette on the 19th. And they got Michigan State in a 3-game set, 21, 22, 23. Let's see, blue-white weekend? Let's see. Believe it or not, USC is coming into play this year. Do you know that?
I'm USC and UCLA coming east in March and April for baseball.
Penn State plays at UCLA.
I just mean UCLA has to come east to play somebody, I assume.
Oh, sure, of course they do. UCLA, Penn State will be at Jackie Robinson Stadium to play UCLA blue-white weekend, in fact.
Oh, you can't sneak in your third trip to LA in 8 months then.
No, but I'll get my third trip to LA in almost a year when I go to UCLA in the Rose Bowl. Yeah. It's a different world, man. It is a different world.
Now it just sounds like you have Hollywood aspirations.
I have Hollywood aspirations? Yeah.
Trying to get your movie made.
That's me. In fact, I kept going over to because the Fox studios were, 3 blocks from our hotel? I tried. I even pitched them when they said, we don't want to do anything about you. Then I pitched the idea about the suit. And when I explained it to them, you know what their response was? That can't be real. We'll come back with more in a moment here on News Radio 1070 WKOK.
There's something to be said about a sale with a handshake, a service technician who really knows what he's doing. They can explain it in English what the problem is. There's nothing better than having that friend you could trust in the area. That's Sunbury Motors, where you get selection, knowledgeable salespeople, and prices that fit your budget, and more important, that friend you can trust. Welcome to Sunbury Motors, Kia, Ford, and Hyundai. You could shop other dealers and compare prices, but at Sunbury Motors, you get their lowest price promise. They research the current used vehicle market and guarantee their used car prices are the lowest. If you find a lower price, Sunbury Motors will beat it. 3 dealers all in one. See their full new and pre-owned inventory at sunburymotors.com. Pick out a vehicle you like and schedule your test drive online. Follow them on Facebook. Sunbury Motors Ford and Hyundai, North 4th Street, Sunbury, and Sunbury Motors Kia, routes 11 and 15 in Hummel's Wharf.